Welcome back to another edition of DHN. I'm your host, as always, Wade Teamer Ronin. This chain is blowing me away. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the newest addition to the content roster. We're talking about the Ronin chain. Now, before I made this video, I want to let you know up front, I spent the better part of 7 months tracking this asset. On top of that, Ronin, if you don't know, is the chain that supports Axie Infinity. Now, when I got into the space in 2019, Axie Infinity was just a whisper. Then, by the time we make it to 2021, this had become the most popular Web3 game on the market. You can safely say that if it were not for Axie Infinity and the other titles that came that were associated with that brand, Web3 gaming wouldn't have the leg up that it has so far. So with that, and with the success of Axie Infinity, I definitely had to dive deeper into the Ronin chain. And let me tell you, boy, there's some interesting opportunities here. And I'm just not talking from a price standpoint. If you want to know, right now, Ronin's sitting at about $3. All right. And we're actually a lot closer to the all-time high, which appears to be around $4.14. So from a price perspective, there's definitely some upwards momentum, because if you would have got into Ronin, if I would have added Ronin to the Elite 8 last year in October, we would have got in at 42 cents, much like we did with Immutable X at 53 cents. And you can see what all we would have gotten. We would have still been in profit. So, but that's on the price side. Let's dive into the chain itself, guys. Get a deeper understanding of how this asset works, how this network works. Again, establishing this understanding as an investor, you're better able to understand how value is going to even make it to this asset in order for your bag to increase. So let's not waste no more time. Let's dive right into it. Now, like I said, Axie Infinity is their biggest title. More recently, they've incorporated the addition of Ragnarok. Now, this is going to bring up a very interesting aspect of Ronin. One of the many reasons why I decided to add Ronin to the roster is because they have a focus on IP. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's intellectual property. When you see a video game, for example, let's just say Madden, EA Sports bought the IP. The intellectual property itself would be football. But with John Madden being a prolific Hall of Fame coach and player, he was obviously able to get IP rights for the NFL. As a matter of fact, I want to say in 2004, EA Sports locked down lifetime IP rights. So that meant no one else could create a football game using that IP. That has had, I think a more negative impact on the sports gaming market, but that's just the nature of the beast. Point is, Ronin having a focus on IP in Web3 gaming, it's giving them a very distinct advantage. And we're going to talk more about Ragnarok in a minute, but they have this NFT drop coming, guys. And I'll tell you, this title, it's pretty interesting because, again, Ragnarok is the IP and it's globally recognized. So you already have a swath of players ready to jump on board and experience this. So, like I said, we'll touch on that again in just a second, but let's dig into the technical side of Ronin. How does all of this work? So Ronin is an EVM blockchain specifically forged, I love that word, for gaming, launched by Sky Mavis, the creator of Web3's breakout title Axie Infinity, which has generated over $1.3 billion in revenue. Yeah, $1.3 billion in revenue, ladies and gentlemen, and it wasn't just from in-game transactions. Keep that in mind. Ronin is the only blockchain proven to scale a single game to accommodate millions of daily active users and has processed over 4 billion in NFT volume. Now, there's actually a way we can check that. This website here is called Crypto Slam, and this pretty much gives us data for NFT sales volume, buyers, transactions, the whole lot. It's a new site that I just discovered, so I'll leave a link to it in the description or as the pinned comment so you can start tracking this data too. But if you look at all-time blockchain by NFT sales volume, they said they were number one behind Ethereum. Understandably, that information was probably written some time ago, but as it stands today, they're still in the top 5. So 4.2 billion in sales, only being beat by the Ethereum and Solana, shockingly, right? So very interesting metric. Let's continue over here. In 2021, Ronin processed 15% of all NFT trading volume and is home to all of Axie Infinity assets, Axie's Land, SLP, and AXS. Ronin is only second to Ethereum when it comes to NFT sales volume. We just found out you're third now. However, still top 5. And if you go back and look at it, look at the lead that they have over the rest of the top 5. That's almost $1 billion. Bitcoin's moving up there. The ordinals, that's going to definitely make this number bigger. And then you can see Immutable climbing the ranks here. Man, I'm going to dig into this site. I think we're going to have some good content coming from this site, guys. But let's continue out here with this technical explanation. Sky Mavis are the creators of the project, and their experience building and scaling Axie Infinity has given them unique insights into product development, community building, and go-to-market, which can be leveraged by partners deploying on the network. So I was watching an interview earlier today before putting this together, just to get a little bit of context. The managing director over at Ronin's Chain, she was holding an interview, and the way she spoke about how Ronin handles its business in the sense of attracting game developers and retaining game developers. I know I talk a lot about Immutable. I love Immutable for the technology, but I haven't seen an interview yet where a member of that team broke down their engagement process so eloquently. So I was really impressed by that. With Ronin, it's a situation where you have to prove yourself first before they even let you into the network, before they even start the conversation around what your game could be to Ronin. So in a lot of cases, there are titles like Ragnarok, for example, with established IP, established audience. Then they were allowed to start the conversation with Ronin. I like that aspect because it ensures that the titles that come off of Ronin are going to bring value to the chain. And of course, as investors, it's going to bring value to our pockets. Now, I want to share this story with you here, and I'm glad that they put this in this doc. It's a nod towards transparency, so that's another good thing. But yes, in March of 2022, Sky Mavis experienced the Ronin validator breach, where over 170,000 Ethereum and 25 million USDC were drained from the Ronin bridge. During this time, ladies and gentlemen, this was happening to everyone. Bridging became a very bad thing in 2022 because you had projects that were there were third-party players coming and offering these bridging services, and they were just basically taking advantage of much larger chains. Ronin, as well as it's easy to find. It's easy to find. The articles are easy to find. I wish I could remember the names of the other chains that were involved, but it was quite a few, and it was quite a few big names, guys. Ronin was in part of that, and they explain it as it was not due to a technical flaw on the behalf of the chain, but a socially engineered attack by an elite group of hackers. This is the same story that came out of the recent Solana hack situation where transactions were being stopped. They weren't going through as they should. There was a group of hackers who basically attacked the system. So Sky Mavis's response to this, they became fully anti-fragile and zero trust. Sky Mavis has implemented rigorous internal security measures to prevent future attacks. And as a matter of fact, on May 3rd, ZKME partnered with Ronin Chain to revolutionize GameFi with advanced KYC solutions. So this is going to strengthen the security infrastructure on the Ronin network. And it could also streamline the onboarding process as well. So on the technical side, guys, again, I know I hope you're starting to see why Ronin is not something you want to just look past. Now, when it comes to consensus mechanism, the core of the infrastructure, they're running a proof of authority consensus. Now, when we were covering VeChain, we learned that proof of authority, it lines up with Sky Mavis's Ronin's approach to doing business in the first place. You have to prove to us that your game has merit. And without that, we can't provide you access to our vast list of resources. Now, a lot of people were saying that, because of that setup, it's not as decentralized. So what they decided to do was move Ronin over to proof of stake. As a matter of fact, they've delegated proof of stake into their validator selection process. So this we've heard before on a token called the XDC network, where this delegated proof of stake setup, it allows for more people to onboard the network simply by putting up a certain stake. So you still have your proof of authority consensus, and now you have a delegated proof of stake validator protocol on top of that. So Ronin is taking advantage of both angles. So you will have a decentralized atmosphere with centralized control and security and scalability. So that's a very interesting setup, guys. And I really like it because of the fact that it covers all the bases, in my opinion. Now, we did touch on staking. You can get involved with staking Ronin. As a matter of fact, I downloaded their app. They have their own personal wallet app. And within the app, the rates are about 28%, ladies and gentlemen. Now, listen. Us in the United States, it's hard for us to find staking opportunities. That's why I led in the beginning of this video with there's some opportunity here. Ronin staking in the app, 28%. If you want to use the app, though, on your dashboard on your computer, you can see here the rates are a little bit lower, 10 to 11%. But look at the validators here. Google, Animoca Brands, Nansen, Sky Mavis, Google. All right. I said it again. Yeah. Nobody even knew that Google was a validator for the Ronin network. So again, guys, lots of potential behind Ronin. That was just the technical side, the infrastructure, the numbers, right? I think that's solid. Let me know what you think down in the description. Of course, I want to know your thoughts. But again, Ronin is run by Sky Mavis, and Sky Mavis is, you can look at them as the company that promotes, that builds, that keeps the development going for the Ronin chain, Axie Infinity, and some of their other products, which include Sky Mavis, Mavis Hub. This is kind of like an Epic Game Store setup where all of their games, things like that, will be live on this dashboard. And then they also have the Mavis Market, which is the NFT marketplace for all of their games, things like that. So any in-game items that may be associated with any of the Ronin games that you're playing, if you get an item, you can come here to this platform, post it up for sale. At least that's my assumption, and make some money off of it. So this is a great thing to have in your ecosystem. I have come across projects that claim to be NFT marketplaces, claim to be this, that, and the third, but they don't have this platform. So when I download your game and I get an asset, what am I going to do with it? That's the beauty of the direction that Web3 is heading into. They've figured it out when it comes to ownership of items in game. I was reading an article in Forbes, guys, and it was very compelling because the idea it left me with was it's no longer a situation. Well, no, I'll put it like this. The biggest problem right now with traditional Web2 gaming is that you get a game, you pay $65, $60, $70 for it. you progress through the game, you get all of these unique items and achievements and features, but that's just it. They don't go anywhere after that. In the article, they mentioned that there's $40 billion worth of value generated in a year from traditional Web 2 games that just don't go anywhere. And then if you're playing a game where you have to pay to upgrade, what Web3 gaming is doing is putting the other end to that model. Titles, you'll be able to play them just the same way you can play your Web 2 game. However, the difference is going to be once you make achievements in the game, once you get certain items, you can then extract that value into the real world. And I think that element in and of itself is going to revolutionize video games in general. So, another reason why I'm so excited, man, Thursdays are going to become my favorite days around this channel. Now, of course, you know, I had to dig around the ecosystem, find out what my favorite games were going to be. A lot of the games are in the coming soon stage, but they do have a few you can play. Of course, Axie, Pixels. I tried that. That ain't my stilo. But if you like farming, that's for you. Aphrion, pretty good game. Roman mythology, Norse mythology type deal with that one. Wild Forest. Now, this is the one that's receiving the NFT pre-release sale coming soon. This is a newer title coming to Ronin, and I got the trailer here. I want to share it with you real quick. But yeah, this is a very interesting battler game, unique characters, which is another reason why I posted on X earlier why I think Ronin could at some point in the future become the Nintendo for Web3 gaming, because the theme that I'm catching right now from Ronin is that it's more family friendly entertainment. And that's the angle that Nintendo leaned into early on in their, history. So definitely way too early to call that. But like I said, I'm an optimist. So if I want to imagine Ronin as being the next Nintendo, I'm going to do that. But that's Wild Forest, guys. Interesting looking title. Can't wait to get into that. And then we also have, of course, Ragnarok, Monster World. Their NFT mint is approaching, and this is the signature IP that they just recruited. Now, it says here, Ragnarok, it's a $1 billion transmedia IP that has amassed over 68 million players across various titles. That is going to be making its way to Ronin. So Ronin's job here from this point on is to make the onboarding experience for this game as seamless as they possibly can, because the traditional Web 2 gamer for Ragnarok, part of that 68 million, they're going to expect the process to be quick, just like it was in the Web 2 space. So very excited to see how that turns out. Another title here, Machines Arena. Yeah, definitely catching my attention. Machines Arena, and it's because of these trailers, guys. You have to love these trailers. But this is one of the over-the-top player versus player battle style games that are really catching steam. And looking at this initial gameplay, this initial footage, I would play this. I would definitely spend an hour playing this game. No like real deep lore or anything behind that. It's just a pick up and play, melee style, button mash, great way to kill a few hours. So with this particular title though, you got something here that everyone can get involved with. Anyone of any age group can play. And I think that's the advantage there. That's the angle, right? So far, a pretty decent list of games, pretty decent list, pretty strong ecosystem. I was impressed. I didn't need to see anything else. However, I stumbled upon this. The Kydro Spark Suit NFT mint is coming soon. This is an NFT mint connected to a game called Kydro. But see, it's not just a game here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how long you've been listening, you've been watching, but if you happen to have been here last year when we did the report on blockchain games, I made it a point to tell you that the IPs, the blockchain games that are able to transmedia their product, meaning not just be a game, turn it into an animated series, a short movie, comic books, real world items like, action figures, whatever you want to do, that's going to be the one that wins. Well, let me tell you something about Kydro, ladies and gentlemen. Not only do they have their own line of graphic novels, came out last year. These things are available, guys. They got 4 different books. This is lore, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm going to nerd out here for a second. If you don't like it, other videos can be watched. But this is lore. And when you have this, you have an investment that goes beyond money. So as the investor, what you want is this type of environment to be created. Because as you're holding Ronin, you know that Ronin on a daily basis is attracting more and more of an audience because they have stories out here like this that are being read by people who are completely oblivious to blockchain. Now, I haven't read any of these yet. They may even mention the technology, which would be an even a bigger benefit because now you're educating people. But on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, they have a trailer. And it's animated. And it's got 8.4 million views already.
Ava.
What is this?
It's time to find out who you are. There are so many who want your abilities. You will be challenged in many ways. You lose control, you could destroy the world. I'm sorry. Gaia needs you.
No, I'm not ready.
There's no other way. You're a Kydro.
I'm a Kydro too. Man, come on now, guys. Do you see what I'm saying here? I don't know if any of you watch Netflix and happen to dip off into the animation on there, but that's exactly what this looks like. That's exactly what this looks like. Now, again, you have to understand how I'm looking at this. Kydro has a game running on Ronin, but they also have graphic novels. They also have other forms related to their IP. What if Netflix picks up this animation? I'm going to tell you right now, the headlines are going to read, Ronin Network game partners with Netflix. That's the headline. It's going to say Ronin partners with Netflix. And then this $3, it's $3, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be nothing. That will be nothing. And it's already moving up. I think the rest of the market's moving up. Got to find out what's going on here. What's that volume? 7%, 112 billion. Oh, okay. Let me not get distracted. But ladies and gentlemen, yes, if you can't tell already, I'm excited about Ronin. I'm definitely excited about getting some of that 23% for holding Ronin. I'm excited for Kydro, The Awakening, especially on this animation side. Now, I was also digging. I'm going to see if I can pull this up for you guys right here. Was it Kydro? No, there's another chain I saw that was building out something towards animation. I don't think they fully developed it yet, but guys, the Web3 gaming space is getting ready to change dramatically. I just posted a video earlier about the scale network, and I brought up a very important point. I'm gonna bring it up here too. Hardware is coming to Web3 gaming, and I promise you, you don't want to miss out when that hits the market. Now, because it's such a big thing, I'm going to make a doc about it. And I know I've said that before, but listen, I just said I'm going to make it, and I've already started writing the first page. So we'll just leave it at that. With that, if you're looking to pick up some crypto, you guys know what I'm using. It's Uphold, ladies and gentlemen. It's an all-in-one crypto exchange, but you can also get access to other fiat currencies, gold and silver. Crypto assets are highly volatile though, so never put in more than what you're willing to lose. In addition, if you do take that risk, we have another channel partner in the form of SafePal. They specialize in cold storage, self-custody crypto wallets. The one I've been using is the SafePal S1. I've been using it for a number of years, and I can tell you, Haven't had a problem yet. So if you decide to use either link in the description, I do get compensated. I want to thank you in advance. Now it's time for the best part. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.